Hey, y'all. Welcome to your show.
Don't be a victim.
I'm Lee Turner Jr. of Tango Firearms Training.
And I'm Buddy Myers of Tall Guns.
Well, welcome back to another week. I think we're going to roll out today with a lot of topic that's going on across the United States, as me and Buddy was previously talking about, which is this thing called snatch and grabbing.
I know I was really bad at the Thanksgiving table, Lee. I snatched everything I could get my hands on. I grabbed it. I ate it. I was out of control. They had to put me in a home for a couple of days because I ate so darn much. No, I'm sorry, folks. I lost it. It. Now my darling wife has got me on a weight loss program.
Yeah, I kind of got my belly quite full, too, since there's only three of us. I had to eat for a couple extra people because we overcooked. But did you have a good Thanksgiving?
Yeah, I did, actually. There was, three of us, the son, well, actually it was four because my son brought his, my grandpuppy over. And of course the grandpuppy partook. We gave him some, he's got a very specific kind of any type of grain diet, but he got a little bit of special stuff for Thanksgiving. And then the daughter, she came up on Saturday and spent about 3 days with us. The grandson had to weigh in and go off to a wrestling tournament, and my son-in-law, who still is active duty Army, serving with the National Guard, he had to go do drill of all things the weekend after Thanksgiving. So it was just the daughter. How about you?
We had to go. My dad and my stepmother came over, and we just had us a little Thanksgiving dinner together because they're out of Florida, but now they're looking for a place over here. So try to get them a little bit closer to home, especially with the way things are just going across the United States. It's every time you turn on the TV, somebody's getting shot, somebody snatching and grabbing. It's, and a lot of people, when they find out what I do down here, and definitely looking forward to getting Tango Firearms back up and running here coming in the spring. Got a good plan in line with that. Maybe start getting some people trained in this personal defense. But I think the suggestions we're going to give today to guard yourself against these snatch and grabbings and what you don't want to do if you're ever encounter these, because these are coming from California all the way across now into the Midwest, up into New York, even down here in the South. This snatching and grab is like a new phase.
Well, what's happened is if you kind of look at it, a lot of folks say, well, that's, those are happening only in those Democrat-controlled cities. Well, that's a yes and a no. That's where it started at, kind of like any disease. But it's all these, what you really got is all these prosecutors that were sponsored and paid for by George Soros that had this particular mindset again to, we're not going to prosecute them for this. Anything under $1,000 is only a misdemeanor offense. Write them a ticket, turn them loose. But it's spread to other places now because the people, the criminal element that's seeing this going on, or those that are enticed into the criminal element, don't realize that, hey, guess what? This happens in Los Angeles. This happens in San Francisco. Happens with one of my most favorite people in the world, Kim Foxx, up there in frickin' Chicago. There's a state attorney who's really got her stuff in a group that they're only going to get a misdemeanor offense. Elsewhere, it could be a felony or whatever, but they're brazen and they are violent. Man, I'm amazed at what I'm seeing. And if one of these is taking place someplace, let's say you're in you could be in a small little city, you could be in a big city, you could be in a mall, you could be in a big box, tool store or a big box lumber yard, any place. And these people come in to steal from it. You got to make a conscious decision as you, the private citizen. I am not going to get involved. Okay, first of all, you got to make that decision. Yeah, I know it's against the law. Yes, I would love to do something, but folks, there's more of them than there are you. And they're going to be and they're starting to be armed now. I was surprised that a news crew in Oakland in the middle of the day on a street got robbed, and they shot and killed their armed security person that was with them, who was a retired police officer from, I believe it was Culver, California, killed this poor fella in the middle of the day. You're just a regular citizen going to go to assist. yeah, you could very well get shot. Or if they're doing like this robbery that occurred in California at the Home Depot, they got an 8-pound sledgehammer. You get hit with that, and it's going to knock your brains in the next week. You don't,
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead,
These
Lee.
flash mobs, the flash mobs that they're calling them, they're coming in quickly, and they're in big mobs. And people, there is no property worth your life. That's why we're saying don't put on a cape. You don't have an S on your chest.
Quit telling our
and
secrets.
You could still be
Quit telling our
carry.
secrets. That's between you and me. You weren't supposed to say anything about that.
True that, but don't step in. A retailer's merchandise is not worth your life. Now, they snatch your kid, they snatch your baby, they snatch your family. That's worth defending. But somebody's merchandise and cologne and diamonds, so be it. I mean, that's on them. These merchandise, they're eventually, what's California going to do if all the stores say, yep, we're done selling here?
Amazon's going to be really happy.
Yes, they are.
Because that's the only place you'll be able to buy it. I mean, and to be honest, as a retailer, I run a brick and mortar facility with my training academy here in Loveland. But, I have a very small pro shop. It's for stuff mainly orientated towards security type personnel, not so much the general public. But it's like, if people are going to steal you blind like that and take the stuff, one, you don't want to get your insurance rates jacked up. Second of all, screw it. I'll take it all out. You want to buy something, you go on Amazon, or you go on Walmart.com, Sam's.com, Target.com, BlueMammoth.com. I don't care where you go. It's not going to be available someplace because it's going to get stolen. It's not worth it.
No, there was 3 out of Destin, Florida over here. It was. This is just how brazen they're becoming. It's just not happening in that Democratic-controlled California. It's spreading, and they're thinking they're going to get away with it. Well, the law in Florida, they don't tolerate it. They're not going to let you go in and take something and flee, and nobody's going to touch you. It didn't work out so well for them.
Yeah, this is like a cancer. It gets started one place, and it will spread its tentacles to somewhere else. It'll go somewhere else. It'll become, oh, this is cool. They used to do flash mobs at places where they would do dancing and use social media to do it. Well, guess what? These people are a lot more organized. That one I saw in that mall, Lee, I was blown away with. 80 some of them are hitting that Nordstrom store, and there's getaway cars lined up outside. I thought this is like, burglary by McDonald's.
Well, if you see somebody walk in with trash bags hanging out their back pocket, you might have an idea something's getting ready to go
something
down.
May be a little squirrely. Speaking of squirrely, we're going to take our first break, and we're going to come right back in a minute. All right, we're back. Go ahead, Lee.
One thing that we was finding out, I read about that Apple stores, they're starting to become one of the prime targets because they're wanting these iPhones and iPads. And, these are high dollar items because now it was, it's just a misdemeanor below $1,000. Well, they ain't caring no more because they know they're getting out of the store. They're getting away. They're not being chased. So you don't have a badge on your chest. And what we're trying is don't be a victim of trying to be a hero.
Yeah, because you could get yourself killed. You could get yourself harmed. They could steal your phone. And if it's an unlocked phone, they can just put another SIM card in and do whatever they want to with it. And that's getting kind of technical. But don't be doing that. Don't put your life at risk. And, by the way, or anybody else's life at risk because you're out there trying to be and think that you're Wyatt Earp or that you're Annie Oakley or you're Sam Bass or, you're, U.S. Deputy Marshal, Raylan Gibbons. Yeah, that's my alter ego. Don't anybody be stepping on my Raylan.
And he has the hat, people.
And I got the SIG too that he originally used. But yeah, it's it's kind of like, you can't put yourself out there. And I mean, it's a fortunate statement about society right now is that, we've got, I don't know what's going on to young people. And I was talking to Lee about this before. We just, as we're broadcasting here right now and recording the podcast, we've had another shooting at another school in Michigan. Well, at the same time here in Colorado, I'll tell you what, it has been like the OK Corral out here. We've had 6 kids shot in a park by another group of kids, 2 15-year-olds were arrested in that shooting. We've had 3 others that were shot and killed in another shooting. Then we had a group shot, just within close distance to a party in the basement of a barber shop out on a street called Colfax here. And we've had other shootings involving kids. Hell, we had one kid, 17 years old, with his friends. They'd been careless driving up down this street in the neighborhood, and their kids in the neighborhood. A former law enforcement officer, not retired, but he had changed his career field, stopped to talk to him. The kids lit off over that, drew a gun on him, and he was carrying a firearm, as you would expect a law enforcement. He shot and killed this 17-year-old kid over his stupidity, how he's driving. But the point is, the level of violence coming from our young people and from these criminals is going up. And it don't take much to set them off to start shooting the gun. And it ain't the gun that's the problem. It's the person that's the problem, that they're willing to do it. And if they're not using a gun, I mean, like, again, that Home Depot, that Snatch and Grab, they were going to smack customers with the 8-pound sledgehammers that were getting in the way of them trying to leave, just standing there. They're going to hit them. And it's like, no, I don't think so. If, in Home Depot, everybody goes, well, they got insurance, they'll get paid back for it. Well, first of all, let me tell you, their insurance rates are going to go up. If their insurance rates go up, guess who's going to pay for it? You, the customer. Because I raise my price up. If I have a loss, a physical loss here at my business, and I have things stolen, my insurance rates go up. It's just like if my utility rates go up, I can't maintain and hold the same price. I'm going to have to increase it sometime. Lee knows how I run my business. I've choked down, profit over the years by, changing up how we do things, being frugal, not cheap, how we do stuff. But I've had to do a price increase this last month because I'm sorry, I just can't, as a result of, let's go Brandon, my cost of my utilities are going through the frickin' roof. Yeah.
And, I really can't stand the news, especially any other one other than Newsmax. But when they say that, these increases in these smash and grab attacks, it does mean bad news for us going to the store. We're going to pay the higher prices. And for people who just want to live life, living in these areas where all these smash and grabs are taking place, it's really going to be bad news for those people because they're going to have to drive many more miles just to find a store to be able to even just get common necessities that they need. Because these stores are not going to keep staying open in these high crime areas.
You look at Walgreens. You look at Walgreens and CVS, how many stores they've closed out there in California because they come in and they steal them blind. Do you remember God, what the hell? It was up in St. Paul when we had the in Minneapolis where we had the stuff this last summer and everybody was all upset and they're burning down. It was, after that, terrible situation with George Floyd, but they're burning stuff in the neighborhood and they're burning a CVS store. And this poor woman goes in the day after and she comes out and she's crying, just crying. An older woman, she goes, they've taken my pharmacy away from me. I'm going to have to catch 5 different buses to get to someplace that can fill the prescriptions to keep me alive. She goes, do they know that they've killed me? That they've killed me. And these are people that don't even live in the area. They took off and they're off to the next burn barrel, which is Portland or, Chicago or someplace or, hell, frickin' Denver. But, they're hurting the people in their own neighborhoods and they're not going to rebuild. CVS isn't going to rebuild. Walgreens isn't going to rebuild. Why? And
some of my belief is it stems from last year's riots, these lootings, these smash and grabs, these burnings, these killings. Now it's starting to become a common thing. I mean, just last Sunday, 4 people were shot, 2 of them were killed in just random shootings. Then over here in Foley, I think it was yesterday or the day before, a dude shoots his own brother and takes him to the hospital and just leaves him laying there bleeding to death. I mean, it's just so common now for people just to shoot each other like it's nothing. It's becoming the old Wild West again, except for the people on the good side of the badge are staying out of it.
Well, it's because if they do anything, they're the bad guys.
Yeah.
They're the bad guys. They want to send them away to jail. I mean, this is like being in the frickin' green zone, in Baghdad. Mm-hmm. I mean, the good guys, you think we know that they're the good guys here, but, if you're going to go to the grocery store, who in the hell ever thought that going to the grocery store or going to the mall, you'd have to get yourself prepared like you're going on a goddamn, combat patrol mission.
Yeah. I mean, it's same thing with they're out of Arizona, something students for socialism, these idiots. We think socialism is all that and a bag of chips.
Yeah. Another George Soros funded organization.
Yeah. But they're trying to protest, don't want Kyle to come and go.
Oh, to Arizona State University. Yeah. I heard about them. Let me give you another definition of what that's called. That's called being a Nazi. They call themselves socialists, but they're Nazis. They want to ignore the rule of law. They want to ignore the fact that young man was found innocent by a jury of his peers, right, wrong, or indifferent, but he was found innocent. But they're still making claims he's a this and a that and a this and a that and a this and a that, with ignoring what's really happened in a court of law. Now, with that said, we're going to go off to another break, and we'll be right back. All right, we're back from that break. So go ahead, Lee.
With things like that even going on, even things like that, even you got some far left people even starting to wake up to their own woke culture that's being created on that side. I think his name's Bill Maher or whatever his name is.
Maher, Maher, not to be confused with a Buddy Myers.
Buddy Maher. Yeah, let's not.
No, not Myers.
Totally opposite end of the spectrum on that one. But even this guy is like, what the hell is wrong with you people? And I never liked the guy, but even him starting to come out now saying, you guys are going crazy. What you're letting happen in our country is going crazy.
Well,
now.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, it's I might not like the guy, but I was willing to listen to what he had to say. And that was the thing that always amazed me about Bill Maher. He was willing to listen to what other people said. Hey, guess what? This is what a democratic society is based on. You say this, I say that. You say potato, I say potato. You say tomato, I say tomato. But we could talk. We could have a knockdown, drag-out debate, and then go have a beer together.
Yeah.
Go play baseball together. Go enjoy a football game together. But now it's, no, I have to crush you no matter what. Yeah. I got to crush
wrong.
You. Yeah.
My opinion's right.
Oh, yeah. Exactly. I'm always right. If you don't think so, just ask me. I'll tell you. Yeah, it's just it's kind of like, Representative Boebert out here in Colorado. Yeah, she's been in the press and she got a little, she can get carried away sometimes. I made a couple of comments about, Ilhan Omar. And, everybody, oh, God, they're so offended. She said this about her with the backpack and implied she was a this or that. Well, she makes a phone call to this Ilhan Omar, and part of the classic, cancel woke thing, Omar got upset and hung up because Boebert asked her to do what she was asking Boebert to do, because nobody got that all fired up when she made comments, inflammatory comments of anti-Semitism to want to sanction her or do anything. I'm sorry, Ms. Pelosi didn't do a darn thing about that, did not want to censure her, or the comments that she made about anti-American, anti-military, even as our 13 young people were dying over there, some of her remarks, and I'm sorry, she's, nobody wanted to do anything about her. But, God forbid, and Boebert's kind of inflammatory focus, but, she's using her First Amendment right, and she can say any darn thing she wants. And if somebody's sitting out there going, well, she needs to sue her, did you know that your members of your House of Representatives and the Senate are exempt from any type of slanderous lawsuits as long as they're in office? If they say it out of office, that's different. That's why I'm really glad to see that Nicholas Sandman's been calling Kyle Rittenhouse about recommending, you ought to sue Let's Go Brandon and some of the others.
And even Trump, when Trump had him come over, that was an honorable thing. But, the whole point of this, what we're trying to talk about right now, people, is property is not worth your life, okay? And you're out there now. I mean, will I defend someone else's life? Sure, I will. Especially with the shootings going on around us. I mean, I've had multiple job offers for security, armed security down here. And I said, what is the property? If they tell me it's personal property, a piece of something, I decline the offer. I will only do loss of life. That's the only post that I feel good about. If I'm going to risk my neck out for something, it's going to be loss of life. So when you're out and you see these going on, avoid them. Go call 911, step on the corner, take a defensive stance, because you don't know what these mad mobs are going to do once they're coming out. Like Buddy said, they're even starting to arm themselves now. And if they come out blaze of glory, you don't want to be standing on that corner videoing them, watching them, because now they think there's a witness. Boom, boom, pew, pew, out the door you go.
Get the license numbers off cars. Get an identity description. Don't stand there. Everybody's so into, look what I saw. Let me post this out here. Let me do the. I'll tell you what. These individuals, yes, it's against the law, and I'm very much a law and order person. But in this case, it's like, no. I mean, there's heck. Let's say there's like this one that happened out there where there's like what I think they said some ridiculous number, like 60 of them went into this Nordstrom, and they're hitting them going. Even if I decide to interject against one of them, and even if I was armed, folks, I'm sorry, I do not have enough rounds on me to be able to defend myself against 60 to 80 of them,
60.
Especially if they have a freaking gun. I mean, that's not going to work. Second of all, I'm not going to take a human being's life over a freaking purse from Louis Vuitton. You want it that bad, you take it. I'll let your police come deal with you.
Yeah.
Maybe you can make one of those when you're in between the times to make a license plate someday. But it's not worth it. That's the question you have to ask yourself. Is that worth your life, or is it worth their life?
But this is all stemming from that leftist woke culture that they're wanting to take over the United States. I mean, hell, I felt bad for the guy. I think he was the one convicted of carrying Nancy Pelosi's podium. They convicted him of that. But we're not going to go after these smash and grabbers. We're not going to go after people.
Oh, the ones that set the U.S. federal courthouse on fire?
On fire, jerking down. But yeah, hey, don't
Portland.
take Nancy Pelosi's podium. That's prison time.
Don't touch that. That's hallowed ground. If you
don't
believe that, just ask Nancy. She'll tell you. Yeah. This podium was used by God on the Mount when he spoke to, down to the children of Israel and told Moses, take these 10 commandments with you. That was the podium he did it from.
Yeah. And, even security guards, they're being told they're supposed to be a deterrent, but these smash and grabbers, they know that these unarmed security guards are standing there are nothing than a speed bump in the way that they can't actually offend. A lot of them are a no-touch security guard. It means you're not allowed to put your hands on them.
We call them window dressing.
Yeah, that's it. They're a mannequin with a little security badge on. That's all they are.
You mean they're not like the ones that you'd see, like one of my instructors here used to run the body detail for Harzad Karmide over in Afghanistan, and then he came back and did it for a well-known international entertainer. And they were prepared at any moment anybody came to interject that they'd take a life, but they weren't paid that $15 or $10 an hour that these security guards are making. They were getting, huge, huge money. Huge money. Big difference.
Yeah, big difference. I took a armed security position, and it's, $25 an hour for a security guard is good money, but that's loss of life. They're not going to pay you that to guard a Kohl's or a Macy's department store.
Yeah, guarded.
And I don't think $10 is worth me getting my head smashed in while they're smashing and grabbing along the way. And like we watched that big famous video going around right now, they had the sledgehammer busting out the glass. And if a security guard would walk up to him, or even a private citizen, and say, stop what you're doing, it's going to be your head that he's going to hit with that sledgehammer.
Speaking of heads getting hit with sledgehammers, we're going to take a quick break and be right back. All right, Lee. We're back.
For them sledgehammers being slapped in the head, the property's not worth it, people. If you can get a video, but try to be, out of sight, out of mind. That's definitely is a good saying for nowadays. Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, it's like, I've encountered this before. It's like the ding-dong who runs out in their yard because some kid's walking across their grass and they're yelling at this kid, and then it escalates that mom or dad come down because they were yelling at the kids because they just walked on the grass, and then it escalates into fisticuffs, or they yell at a bunch of kids because they were sitting on their grass, and they're a small-minded person. Oh my God, they're sitting on my grass. And then their house gets egged the next night, or they get teepeed because there's retaliation for something as stupid as, oh, they sat in your grass. Well, that's a major deal. Or the one that runs out of their house. I love these ones. The ones that run out of their house with the shotgun because somebody's stealing the frickin' garden gnome. That's what we got big dogs for. Turn the dogs out on them. Yeah. But, I mean, this is the point. They're running out with, you're going to use a shotgun to shoot somebody over a frickin' garden gnome? Really? Or yelling at kids on it because they're sitting in your yard? I mean, there's ways to handle. I mean, I'm sorry. It just, to me, those are such petty things. But that's what people do, and they end up going to get themselves frickin' killed.
That's right, because this ain't the 1950s anymore, people. You're not going to go out and yell at the neighborhood kids, and they're going to go home with their heads tucked between their legs, sniffling and crying because they're afraid you're going to tell their father.
Yeah, speaking of
which,
which,
going to happen is they're going to retaliate against you.
Well, yeah, speaking of which, Lee, did you see that Chicago, they made a carjacking arrest? A kid carjacked this people with their car, armed, 11 years old. 11 years old. That happened over the weekend.
Yeah.
And the police arrested him. They got him. But it's like, oh, my God, 11 years. I mean, this is like being, frickin' the Mogadishu, during, everybody saw the movie, the Black Hawk. There's 12, 13-year-old kids running there with frickin' AKs. I mean, this is just like that. It's like, okay, you guys got to realize your life is worth a lot more than thinking you got to defend the inventory at the Home Depot or at the Target store that they're stealing, or the Louis Vuitton store, or the Nordstrom's. It's like, no, just get evidence, be a good witness, and turn over to law enforcement.
Yeah.
Don't intercede. Like Lee said, like the guy beating on that counter with that sledgehammer, and there was multiple of them there trying to break that safety glass. I'll tell you what, you get hit with a 5-pound hand sledge like that, you think about it. If you've ever driven a nail and hit your thumb, just imagine that sucker whacking in the head. We call that blunt force trauma death. It crushes the skull, goes right in.
And then again, this all stems back to even now our government loosening. People aren't scared of going to prison. They're not scared of law enforcement. They have no fear in it.
No,
so I mean, like,
yeah, because they get
back
arrested.
in the day when you could hang somebody for murder, guess what? They didn't want to be hung out in the street, so crime rate was down.
Well, they went through court, they went through all the things they should, and then there was this capital punishment thing that took care of it pretty quick. But even now, if you did kill someone, that you'll make bail really quick, or they won't incarcerate you, or you go into the jail and they go, well, we've got a no bail policy, so he's in here and he's a sex offender. We'll turn him back out on the street. That way he can get in his car and have an argument with his former girlfriend, go down the street and drive over a bunch of kids and people in a goddamn Christmas parade in Waukesha, Wisconsin, okay?
Yeah, that's what is going on. That's what is going on. There is no fear anymore. And if we get back to the old ways, the Bible says an eye for an eye.
Well, there's no consequences underneath a civilized society. And again, this goes right back to my earlier point. These are those George Soros-funded prosecutors that have been, elected to district attorneys' positions, who have changed these positions. You've got them in San Francisco, you've got them up in Baltimore, you've got one in Chicago, you got them in L.A., and, you've got them in Portland. You got them in a lot of cities. This is where I get to. Use your vote. Make sure you know who the heck you're voting for, because there's consequences, folks. And you get a chance to vote them out, but there's consequences.
And big cities are going to pay for all this. Nobody's going to want to bring their tourism there to come and travel and see your crime-ridden city.
Or bring
Nobody
their
wants to come and
conferences.
see your slums.
But the inherent problem, you might say, well, I live out here in the country, I'm safe. No, because the people will move away to the smaller areas out in the country, and it will come with them. Trust me.
Yeah.
It comes with them. They're called camp followers, and it comes with them. I mean, look at Las Vegas. Las Vegas has got this same problem. Plus, they legalized cannabis, which I am fine with, but they said it's not going to be smoking in public. But I tell you what, you go out to the Strip right now, folks, and I've mentioned this before in earlier cast. All you smell is, the smell of, lit up grass and urine. That's all you smell.
Yep.
That's all you see, because there's no consequence. We don't have the law. Okay, I'm having a good time. Who's going to arrest me? We only got like 10,000 of us out here walking around like freaking idiots, ignoring the law.
If Las Vegas keeps that up, all they're going to be is just a big light show. Ain't nobody going to want to tour there. Ain't nobody want to go be seen there. I mean, they're not going to want to risk their life to go there. And
it's dangerous enough if you go to North Las Vegas. It's already deadly.
Yeah. And you got to understand out there, like Buddy says, vote, vote, vote. Okay? Be careful who you vote for, because they're behind armed guards. They're living their caviar and Cadillac lives, while we're down in the streets with these people they're allowing to do these with. Do you think Nancy Pelosi really cares that you get your head busted in with a sledgehammer when all she cares about is trying to stay in power in the office? And how's she going to do that? By letting people run wild.
Well, I think she's got an exit strategy. I don't care if they're a D, an I, or an R. Look at what we've gotten with some of the independents. And look at what we've got with some of the Republican types. I mean, there's some of them that it's like, you vote the issues. Vote for the person based upon their belief in law and order and how they're going to enforce things and what they're going to do. I mean, it's kind of like this guy that just got elected to be mayor in New York. He is a Rudy Giuliani type guy. Law and order. We're going to tighten things up. He's a former police officer, police captain up there. He said, we're going to tighten things up. They're not going to do this in my city.
Nope.
Whereas Big Bird, who's been there all along, it's like, oh, he'll come on in and do it in my city, because as soon as I'm get done with this, I'm the hell out of here.
That's one thing I give credit down here in Baldwin County. The mayors have come out and said, we're not going to play with you. The Baldwin County, I was talking to a Marine Corps League brother the other day, and Baldwin County is the second fastest growing county in the United States because it has a low crime rate. The mayors are coming out saying, we're not going to tolerate you. They're upping their police force. They're hiring, and there is police on like, you don't want to speed around here. You're going to get popped. I know. I've already got popped. So, luckily, my Marine Corps emblem.
Folks, there is justice.
There is justice, and he gave me a little break, so I'm going to just slow her down.
Yeah,
but anyways,
that's where Buford T. Justice is from.
They're upping their security around here. And I wasn't playing when I said I've had multiple job offers, but that's not what I'm wanting to do. I want to get back into training these people, and these people around here are hungry. I mean, they are hungry for training down here, and I'm looking forward to this opportunity to be with them and better protect our community and our society that is in Baldwin County, because this is a good group of people down here.
Well,
and I've just fell in love with the people, and I just think what these mayors, these people, they voted for people with their beliefs on how to protect society and live amongst each other. Well, and that's getting back to Buddy's point.
Yeah, the key is you're going to have to hold them to that. And unfortunately, I'm going to have to hold us to a timeline here. That, folks, we're at the end of our show. And Lee, if you take us into the closing, it would be greatly appreciated.
Especially like we was talking about with these smash and grabs. Want your six, want your family six. And as always, as long as you have our Lord and Savior in your life, 6 feet ain't so far down.
And as I tell you, freedom is not won on the battlefield. It's won in the classroom and in the home. Teach your children about what freedom is and about liberty. And there's a great example that I saw a young man who took the oath of citizenship yesterday. His name was Enos Cantor. His name is now Enos Cantor Freedom. He's an NBA player who's been taking on China and LeBron James. He learned about freedom. And with that said, folks, we're signing off. Have a wonderful week, and we will be back next week.